After I decided to study in the Middle East, I ended up launching the UAE's largest youth startup community called Violet Ventures. And so my big pain point that I was solving there was that I wanted to find entrepreneurial people that wanted to solve problems bigger than themselves. But I didn't have a community or a club or a group of people to go to. So we decided to create one. And I ended up having a team of 30 volunteers where we brought Slush to the Middle East. We brought Start Summit to the Middle East. We built this pipeline for VCs, the leading VCs in the region. And we also organized the largest AI hackathons in the region. And so it ended up building this like multiple 1,000-person community of young founders. And that's how I knew I wanted to keep building for the rest of my life. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to keep building things from scratch that solved pain points that I cared about. And so I ended up being an early team member of a fund to launch a large fund in Saudi Arabia. And we brought pre-idea founders together and we helped them do matchmaking and build their first prototype and do their investment. And I was one of the first team members to move out there. And it was like a super exciting project to do that. And then once that project was done, I helped launch a hedge fund in UAE, which was incubated by an MIT team that had a strategy and wanted to deploy in the Middle East and wanted someone who was based there who had some expertise. So after those series of projects, I knew I loved the 0 to 1 stage of forming things. It's like I did my community, I did my VC fund experience, I worked with a hedge fund. Now I wanted to really do the bread and butter product, and I wanted to do it in the epicenter of technology. And by no doubt, it is San Francisco. So I set out on this journey to find the best founder that I wanted to work with. And I was looking for a very high EQ, high IQ founder that had sold multiple companies and was ready to build a Decacorn Plus. And I wanted to work like a dog. And that's what I told everyone. I did so many coffee chats and I told everyone this exact sentence.
Wow.
And I kept meeting people. I kept meeting people in New York, in London, in Dubai. And then on a whim, I was overlapping in San Francisco for 1 week with Spiros Santos, who's the founder of Resolve AI. And we had 3 coffee chats and we really hit it off. And he said, could you move to San Francisco next week to work with us? And I said, okay, I need to like handle some things in my life first to be ready for this global move, but I'm I love the idea. And so that's how the journey with Resolve AI started.
Okay, that's very wild. Thank you for sharing, because that's very common to get the question when you're in the startup environment. Oh, how do I get into the most sexy startup? Or how can I work with a $1 billion company that is starting earlier than on the final success round? So question number 1, how did you find all those people to talk to? Did you use some platform? Was it LinkedIn, or do you have your own way to spot the talent?
Yes. So I walked in with a very clear articulation of what I'm looking for and what I'm good at and what work environment I'm compatible with. So I think it's important to have that predetermined in your mind because it helps narrow down your focus a lot. So for me, I knew I wanted to work with a serial founder, and I also wanted someone who had a lot of like stability in their presence, like not going ups and down with the waves of hype cycles. I love the phrase, you can tell a lot about a man's character when they have everything and when they have nothing. And that is especially the case for a founder. You can be on a high from winning or getting $100 million fundraise, but you can be on a low when you have a bad quarter. So who is someone that can ride that wave with resilience is super important. And so, A, I had a clear understanding of what I wanted. B, I put myself out there and I focused on like, how can I maximize my surface area of luck? So that means traveling to different locations and cities where I have a hypothesis that I would enjoy living there. How can I meet as many interesting people there? And how can I get a coffee with someone at this interesting event? After I get a coffee with them, I ask them to introduce me to 2 more people or another person in their network. And then that compounds and keep compounding after that. And then you can also think about ways of how can I be of value to them? How can I introduce them to each other or help them some way in their life? So that's also beyond just a coffee chat. It's like, how can you maintain a relationship that's abundant? And eventually, the combination of those two things ends up at your goal. I truly believe it.
How long did it take you to find Resolve AI and Spiros?
I would say it took a couple of months of intentionality, but I'm also a believer that it's like 80% work and 20% luck. So I had done the work to be in a position to receive the luck, but you can't 100% maneuver it into the 100% all the time.
Yeah, but what I'm also hearing, you were so clear what you want, what can you bring on the table, that immediately eliminates lots of miscommunications in a way. And so why Resolve and why the team you're working right now with, what really caught you that, oh yeah, that's the chapter where I really want, as you said, to work as a dog, to learn, to bring the value and to thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. I also want to just to comment on the previous topic is that I'm also a believer of thinking about like an elevator environment. If you walk into the elevator with the exact person that you need to be meeting in your life right now, so like let's say you walk into the elevator with Warren Buffett or Elon Musk or the person that can open up all the doors in your life, what do you have to say in 30 seconds that puts you in a position to receive that opportunity? Have you done the work to, let's say if you're a founder, have you done the work to understand your market, understand what your prototype would be? And the only thing you need is a check in order to fulfill that. Then yes, that means you've done the work to be in that position. If you don't have anything to say in that elevator, you're not yet ready to receive like magnificent luck like that. So I think about it as well as like, what am I doing to constantly put myself ready for the next opportunity? And that it is a different type of framework to think about it in that way. So, but then to your question about Resolve AI, I really made the decision based on my interactions with the founders. They were just exactly the type of personality I was looking for. And they also had the wisdom of having multiple exits together and having their previous team members follow them to this company that really sold the deal for me. Because you're going to have eventual product pivots, especially from a seed company onwards. So while the market circumstances will change, while the exact outlook of the product will change, it's like, who are you working with? And are you inspired by them? And do you enjoy working with them? Is the really big question that I had. And then what is the humanity that we experience? Like we care for each other and we care for the product. And that's what really sold me in that experience.